Yeah, I guess one way or the other, I haven't really noticed the benefits of an air purifier having it in our apartment. I'm sure it works, Liam, but there's no way for me to really tell. I haven't been as astute to notice the differences one way or the other. But this is not to slander air purifiers. I don't know if they do make a difference or don't.
I'm still, the jury's still out. Like I was telling you before we hopped on, I've had it for like 3 weeks now. There's still fucking dust all over my apartment 24/7, and I don't know. I think I'm losing the war. I'm losing the war.
I got a dusty place.
I
feel like
hate
I'm
it.
dusted every day. Every day.
Same. I was telling Fed,
Yeah.
like surfaces, everything. Like I'll sit at
Yeah.
my desk and
And I love
just,
my
like,
trinkets.
yeah, exactly. That makes it even worse.
Trinkets
I got like the
galore at the
bobbleheads and
Wallinger.
shit. They just
Yes.
collect.
Yeah, I mean,
Should we
It's
have
terrible.
an air
Look,
purity
look at this.
check every episode?
I just wiped my finger. There's some dust right there.
That is some dust.
Same thing. I'll
Yeah.
be sitting at my desk working, and I'll just like brush my hands. Oh, there's a decent layer of dust. This is great.
The children yearn for the dust talk on
And
Red
I'm
Sox podcasts.
But I was also gonna say, like Jake. I mean, our places are so old. It's probably like asbestos too. Like, and
Lead
there's no
paint.
way. There's no way it's good.
No, well, yeah, no, probably not.
Yeah.
All those places being built when people were like 410. Yeah, like eating lead paint. Never mind, just like using it. Yeah, it's
Yeah, we're cooked. I'll be dead by 45.
infrastructure has come a long way since then, but unfortunately, you're not going to be reaping the benefits of that if you're staying there. But again, the view is wonderful at Liam's apartment right across the street.
Casa de Fennessy.
That's right. Well, it's good to have you back, John Henry. Come outside, aka Liam. It's good to have you back on the podcast. How was your island excursion?
It was great. Love Jamaica. I will say, guys, I think I probably lost 10 pounds just through sweat. It was so hot.
Oh,
You were just
man.
wet the entire time. I think if it had been like,
Was it humid?
I mean, it was all of that. It was mostly humid. It's just a wall of water when you
I
go
don't
outside.
wish humidity on my worst enemy. I really don't.
That
It
is
was-
what gets you. It's not
Yeah.
just so much the heat. It's the humidity down there that will get you. But it looked beautiful.
No, I mean it's a beautiful place. The flight, I'd been down there once, I don't know, probably like 10, 15 years ago. And the flight's super easy. It was like it total 4.5 hours from Boston. It's like this is
It's not
great.
so bad. 4.5 hours.
It's less than it took me and Jake to get to Seattle at the start of the year. It was like, wow, why aren't I doing this more often?
Same
Well, not
time
me.
zone too, right?
Not
you
me,
don't have the
but
time
yeah,
change.
you.
Oh well, yeah, you know what I mean. You know what I mean.
Yeah,
you were
I know
there.
what
You were
mean. I
there.
know what
Did you
I
start
know what
talking like Chet Hanks once you touched down?
That's you know what. That's why.
Bombaclat.
That's why I had to skip last week's episode because I was still shaking the accent.
You're still saying booyaka, booyaka.
Your vocal ticks were too bad.
Exactly.
And we were joined by Clara, aka Jake. Jake, what's that in reference to? This feels like it's a movie or TV
Clara?
reference.
Clara the Heart.
Yeah.
The Woo Sox mascot, Clara the Heart.
Yeah, we talked about it. Okay.
Clara
yeah,
Barton.
yeah.
Clara Barton. Come on.
That is true. We did talk about this. Again, forgetting everything left and right over here on my end. I am Josh Bard, aka Fitz. Shout out Tyler for the suggestion on Josh Bard. I asked for his insight, my good friend of the program, and he went with Josh Bard. Personal catcher for
Solid pick.
Wakefield, if memory serves, right?
Yeah, probably what, like 06, 07?
Yeah. He mentioned '06, my buddy, and I went to look it up. And yep, that is true. He was
Who was the backup catcher in 07? Was it George Gataris? Is that right?
no, I think he was still in the minors at that point. Josh Bard
It was
here.
Mirabelli.
Well, yeah,
Was Mirabelli still there in 07?
No, Mirabelli.
Mirabelli
came back.
was called back in '06.
Oh no, he came back in 06.
As a member of the Boston, according to Wikipedia, which has never lied, as a member of the Boston Red Sox in April of 2006, Josh Bard's primary duties were catching knuckleball pitcher Tim Wakefield. In the beginning of the season, this proved to be a challenging task as Bard gave up 3 passed balls in his first appearance for the Sox on April 5th. In an April 26th game against Cleveland, Bard gave up 4 passed balls, giving him a total of 10 passed balls in his first 5 games.
Why did Tim Wakefield have a personal catcher that was bad at catching knuckleballs?
That's a really good question.
Whose
That's his whole
decision
job.
was that?
That's his whole job.
That's
I would
his
say-
fucking job.
I would say we're a pro in general Theo Epstein podcast, as I don't know why there would be an anti Theo Epstein Red Sox podcast, but we lean on the pro side. That's a miss for the King. We call
Well,
it a-
I just don't understand. Was he was signed to catch Tim
Well,
Wakefield's...
Josh Bard was part of the Coco Crisp trade. We
Oh,
got
okay.
him from Cleveland along with Coco and David Risk for Guillermo Mota, Kelly Shopek, and third base prospect Andy Marte. Rest in peace, Andy Marte. And then a few days later, after those 5 games where he gave up 10 pass balls, Bard was traded along with Claw Meredith, a fellow by the name of Claw Meredith, to the
Orioles
San Diego
legend.
Padres. Clicked on his Wikipedia page. He is throwing a baseball in an Orioles jersey. Liam, you nailed that. To the San Diego
gotcha.
Padres for Doug Mirabelli. Mirabelli, who had been traded by the Red Sox to the Padres for Mark Loretta during the offseason, was experienced at catching Tim Wakefield. So there you go. That's the story of Josh Bard.
Great. That's great.
They realized pretty quickly, and I mean, again, it's mentioned all the time. Like, it gets run probably once every 4 months on Red Sox Twitter. It feels like the Doug Mirabelli police escort. But
It's funny he was gone for a month.
They're like, we
Yeah.
need
You
Doug.
need to get
They
him back.
trade. I mean, I'm just reading it like it's Mirabelli was on the Padres for a month. April.
You could make a Mark Wahlberg movie out of that, where he's Theo's like, we gotta get Dougie back. Calling like the
Yeah, we
governor
were
in.
running through catchers in 06. There's a whole slew of them here.
Rattle it off.
There's Veritek, Mirabelli, Javi Lopez, Braves legend and Orioles legend, Josh Bard, Ken Huckabee, and Corky Miller.
Corky Miller.
Yeah.
That does not ring a bell whatsoever, but fire
He
name.
had four ABs for the 06 Sox.
The Cork
Very
Man.
memorable.
4 ABs.
and-
Hey, if they had won in 06 instead of 07, Corky would have gotten a ring.
Would have gotten a ring. Playing time, man.
Corky
How about
Miller.
that?
Get Corky on the pod. He could be the 4th member of Pod on Lansdowne. The show
His
that you're
last
listening to,
season,
by the way.
his final season was 2013 with Cincinnati. He played 17 games.
Corky made it all the way to 2013. Good for him. Is
Yeah,
that his pension?
37.
Did he earn his pension, or is pension 10 years?
I think it's
Pension's 10 years. Let me see. His service time. Does it even show you if they're already retired? Probably not.
But you can kind of do the quick math a little bit.
No, because it's weird because he played in 2010, but then he wasn't in the majors in 11 and 12. So then it gets kind of hairy. And also, he never played more than 35 games in a season. So I don't think the service time shook out in his favor.
Well, Corky, I'm sorry that you didn't make it all the way there, though. But you know what? Shout out Corky Miller. But this is Pod on Lansdowne. We appreciate you tuning in this week, where the 3 of us are back together. It was great having just some one-on-one time with Jake, but even better to have Liam back in the fold as well. Jake, so. I had fun. I enjoyed it. I don't know about you. Maybe
Okay.
I don't want to speak for you, but
Yeah,
me
what
personally-
antics did you guys get into last week? I told Fitz, I'm
so
sorry,
you-
I didn't get a chance to listen.
So I was gonna say, so you didn't listen to the podcast? Okay, that's good to know. Thank you for talking about there. I mean,
Loyal listener.
it was a pretty, like, for the most part, it was serious baseball talk. I would say 50 minutes of actual baseball talk, which is a lot for us.
That's good. That's
No, we
solid,
did.
man.
Yeah, no, we really got into the weeds.
Really, we're talking shop, and
Yeah.
there's a lot of shop to be talked, to be spoken of after this past week as well. We're not going to do the charade. We'll spare you the charade of spending 5 minutes of talking about how the team is mid, because we've already done it about 15 times this year. What else is there to say? Like, the
There's
team is
one
still at
team
500,
there's one team that's 500 in baseball.
and it's us.
Sure
It's
is.
us, baby.
As we record Monday evening, who knows if that changes. I'm not going to look at the records for the teams playing tonight, but we're recording this Monday night, and the team again sitting at 500 after avoiding complete embarrassment in the south side of Chicago, not dropping 3 of 4 against one of the worst teams we've seen in, I don't know, Liam, what would you say, at least the past, 7 years? How bad
Yeah,
this
I don't
White
know.
Sox team is?
Since the Bush administration, maybe. I don't know, man. They're terrible.
They're a mess. They're a mess. I think, like those early 2010s Astros teams were.
Yeah, I was
awful.
gonna say.
Oh,
those.
that's
I was
ugly,
gonna
yeah.
say those. Yeah.
Like the late aughts Orioles teams too. Those were rough.
Yeah, not and this team is a complete mess. But how much of a mess can they be if they just took 2 out of 4 against the Red Sox, even in the South Side? But even after all that, the Red Sox remain at 500, just a game and a half outside of a wild card spot. It's mid. It's mid. What else did we know? There's not much else to add for that. But again, like I sort of alluded to last week with Jake, the way that they get to this mid has been complete ebbs and flows one way or the other. And you saw it over this past week. Great pitching performances and dog shit pitching performances. It's been all over the place. So I guess this is a choose your own adventure sort of episode for the co-hosts of Pod on Lansdowne.
Oh.
I'll just open the floor to whoever wants to start with fuck with and don't fuck with, because I feel like there is a lot to get into, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Liam, do you want the floor first because you're returning, or do you want to take that right of first refusal and kick it off over to Jake? It's up to you.
No, I feel like I'll hand it to Jake just because. I mean, guys, I'll be honest. Outside this past weekend, I mean, I was home in Baltimore. I was in Jamaica. Like, I've caught bits and pieces. Like,
Well, there's just the 2 games against Atlanta, to be fair. Monday and Thursday were get out of jail free cards for you.
true, that's true. And I guess, yeah, you guys must have you covered the series in Detroit.
Pavetta good,
I mean,
first game bad. That's what you need to know about those 2 Braves games.
I mean, I guess if I'm picking a fuck with it, shout out Rob Refsnyder, man. I know I said it jokingly.
That's your guy.
In our
That's
group
your
chat
guy.
earlier this year that we needed him back so bad, and dude's just a gamer. I don't know what else to say. In Chicago, those 2 diving catches in right field. Let me pull up his numbers so far this year. He's been an absolute menace.
Been good at the dish, yeah.
So 38 games, he's had 116 ABs. The slash is 336, 403, 500. The OPS plus is 152.
That sounds like an all-star to me, Mr. Fantasy. I don't know about you,
Should we start the campaign?
right? I mean,
Because I don't know. I
All-Star
just
Game's
about
just
it
a popularity contest. Rob Refsnyder should be leading off and starting in the outfield.
because I mean I just look back at when we talk about Rob Refsnyder. You go back to last year when they gave him that 1-year extension around the trade deadline, and then he was absolutely terrible in the second half of the season. He
All-time bag secure, though.
he got the bag, and then in the second half last
He
year,
fucking
32
sucked
games,
second
the
half.
slash was 214, 317, 257.
He wants
And
to get paid
he-
again now.
He wasn't even hitting lefties in the second half of last year. So I don't know. I mean, to see him, it's just like, dude's a pro. I hate to be a boomer baseball analyst, but man's a professional hitter. He is a professional baseball
This
player.
guy is a baseball player.
I mean, I absolutely love him. I tweeted over the weekend after one of those catches in Chicago that, like, when we look back on these extremely mid Red Sox teams, like, he's a guy you look back and be like, I liked Rob Refsnyder.
He was right, yeah. You
like-
look back
like-
fondly with him, yeah.
Like cult hero status in the making, as long as he keeps it up this year.
And hey, with guys dropping left and right, like O'Neill back on the shelf for the time being, the injuries that this team has sustained, him coming through and providing something to keep the team, I guess afloat is the right word to use in this situation. Again, they're just outside of the playoff picture looking in at this stage of the game. That's commendable. And
yeah, I mean,
he's been
where
able to
would
rise to
we
that
where
occasion.
would we be without Rob Refsnyder right now? Probably still 500.
but
Nice.
It's a force outside of the roster's control
Yes.
that will always keep them at 500. It could be us 3 could be 1, 2, 3 in the rotation, and they'd still find a way to be 500. I think, but
Because I mean, think about it, like Bobby was in right field for one of those games in Chicago, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
like
Maz was.
that-
No, in Chicago? No.
in Chicago, and you're right, there was the Braves game where
Yeah.
all these hit one, and Maz was like, oh,
and
what's
Naz
he
wanted
doing?
him to be fucking Peter Parker out there, right? Why
Which
can't
too
he
is the
sling a web out there and catch the ball, Mike? I'm concerned. He
not
was
to
bitten by a radioactive spider, and he doesn't use it, Mike.
not to hand it to Maz, but it was a terrible route. But there was still no way. He
The
was
ball
catching
was
that.
the ball.
There's
It
still
was
no way he was catching
in the
it.
back
It was
of
like
the
back of the
bullpen.
ball. Yeah, it was terrible.
He could have been Roberto Clemente out there taking that route to the ball. It would not have mattered.
Still not getting there. Still not getting there.
Unless you're allowed to climb into the bullpen and then make that catch, or 5 feet into the into the rows of the bleachers, he wasn't going to be getting that ball. No. But no, Rob Refsnyder, shout out to him.
That's my guy. I mean, honorable mention probably to Hamilton and Valdez if I'm giving them out. Like Valdez came back from Worcester, and what's he done since in these last few games? Last 5 games, home run, 3 RBIs. Like I don't know, he runs into him. All he does is hit. He doesn't put the ball in play often, but when he does, more often than not, it's an extra base hit. So I can at least appreciate that.
Yeah, you take that for a guy who could be organizational depth down the line, 100%.
Yeah, and then I mean David Hamilton, you saw Sunday in Chicago. He makes the error, but then the rest of the game, he's doing everything in his power to get them back. He scores the tying run in the 9th.
I'm ready to call him a guy. I said some nasty things about that young man
to start the year. Yeah,
but
it was bad at the start.
I gotta hand it to him. I do.
Yeah.
I mean, let me look up. Oh no, that's Valdez. Sorry, I'm rusty.
Trying to delete. Yeah, you're still on island time.
I know. Yeah. Let me see. Yeah, Hamilton, his last 30 is hitting like nearly 300. So if we go back to, let's go back to May 15th. If BREF wants to populate that for me. Yeah, if we go back to May 15th, he's started 19 games. He's played in 23 overall. The line is 333, 377, 528. 2 home runs, 6 RBIs, 5 walks, 9 stolen bases.
The speed
dude's making an impact. And that was the whole thing. We were like, we know he's fast. He just needs to get on first base. No, he's actually getting on base. I mean,
he hits a lot of doubles too.
He's got 6 doubles. He's got 6 doubles, a triple.
Okay.
But still, in 19 games started over that span, 6 doubles is. I'm not turning my nose up at that. I mean, the BABIP, he might come back down to earth. The BABIP is 423. It's 423, but
yeah,
I know I'd have to look at that quality of contact. But I don't know. He's the home run in Chicago the other day was just a rope to right field.
That BABIP's what, Chuck?
But that's my guy. I'm turning into a believer, quite honestly, and not that Cora had any other option but to keep running him out there, but. You know, it's nice to see like somebody developing right before our eyes.
Right, and it's good to find out what we have in this organizational depth. This is something that Jake and I spoke about last week as well. You know, just given the situation of, okay, you know, your Nick Yorks and your Marcelos are still down on the farm, whereas you have injuries with the big club, you're going to find out, especially in regards to this middle infield situation, you're going to find out what you have. And if this team is going to be looking to take a step forward into the future, if this organization wants to get to that level of contending for pennants and championships again, they're going to need the organizational depth. So they're going to have to figure out what they do and don't have. If this season doesn't pan out with a postseason berth, at the very least, you can sit back and say, all right, we have a little bit of a sample size here to work off with your Valdezes and your Hamiltons and whatnot.
Okay, yeah, that was your fuck with was David Hamilton. I'm just trying to.
That was just an honorable mention. Those.
Oh gosh, that wasn't even. Oh my gosh.
Fuck with.
No, I mean, Rob naturally.
Oh, Boston Rob. Excuse me.
Of course.
Do you want to give your don't, or should I give my do, or what should we do here?
You know what? I will give you my don't.
Okay.
Let me.
But don't so fast.
Oh.
Don't do it so fast.
Let me take a selfie.
Yeah, let me take. Jesus Christ. 2014 ass reference over there.
That
sounds like a decade old. Can we stop and think about
it's definitely like 2013.
That is a decade old. That is a decade.
100%.
Maybe it came out in late 2014. I don't know. Jake.
Actually, 2014. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Me personally, I'm just speaking for me, fellas. I was more of a Harlem Shake guy, but to each their own.
I was a closer man.
That was 16. Closer.
Okay, sorry.
Still banger.
Yeah.
The grip that Closer had on society in the summer of 2016.
Yeah, it was special.
Closest to world peace.
The soundtrack of my senior year of college. Let me tell you, I'll age myself.
So let's step aside here. We're going to take a quick break. When we return, I think Liam's don't fuck with. Is that what we're going with?
Correct.
Let's just say that.
Correct, Mundo.
Back after this. Wait for Jake to get situated there.
No, I'm good. Soph is rummaging over here.
Hi, Soph.
Yeah,
What happened there?
she's crying a little bit.
Oh. 3 people watching. Hi, 3 people watching.
Who goes there? Show yourself. Show yourself in the comments.
One of them might be. One of them. 2 now. So some coward left.
Liam, are you going to Thursday's game?
Yeah, I'll be at all 3.
I'll be there with my dad on Thursday.
Nice.
My old man.
All right, 3 seconds, guys. We have returned. Pawn on Lansdowne. The full gang back in the swing of things. Hi, Jonah. Jonah's watching it on the side, taking notes, ripping videos
There
for
he
us.
is.
We always appreciate Jonah. But 3 guys here, Jake, Fitz, and Liam, at your service once again. And you listening, we always love to hear from you on social media. Whoever is paying attention, or I'm looking at this, transcription unavailable. We do have voicemails, gentlemen.
Oh, that's exciting.
We'll get to those later in the program. But as I was saying, if you'd like to follow us on Twitter, you are more than welcome to. The show is at Pawn on Lansdowne. I am at Fitzy Mopena. Jake is at Jake Wallinger. Liam is at Liam Fennessy _. And if you, yes you, want to leave your own voicemail for the program to be featured on the show, you're more than welcome to by calling... Jake, what's the number?
203? No, that's my number. Sorry.
Not
Let me start
even!
again.
Oh, you did it again!
No, look.
And missed it this week. Instant miss.
I don't get to try. I don't get to try.
No, you can try again, but just even if you get it, it's still a miss for this week.
Okay, then I'm not gonna try. I don't want to waste.
We're gonna have Jake's full number on here by the end of the month.
I don't want to waste any bullets.
Doxing himself, right? He's the first person to self-dox. But no, if you want to leave a voicemail to be featured on the program, like the voicemail that we have here from someone from Virginia, it looks like, ooh, Virginia person leaving a voicemail. You can call us at 617-420-2431.
It's President Biden. It's President Joe Biden.
Hey, Jake, Fitz, and Liam, this is Joe.
Wow, that was good, Fitz. That was good.
I have a question about Rob Refsnyder.
I was gonna ask about Corn Pop. Played for the Sox in the 50s.
617-420-2431. Questions and comments are being accepted. Liam, what are you not fucking with, my friend?
Guys, I really hate to say it, and
I know what you're gonna say.
I hope I don't sound ridiculous. And it's not. I can't even really be like, this is a true fuck with, or don't fuck with, rather. It's more a warning, if you will, or a concern. Our good friend Cutter Crawford, the cracker.
I thought you were going to go in a different direction.
I did too.
No, what do you think I was going to say?
I thought you were
Well,
going to say
no. Oh, Fitz, that's well.
Sorry. Well,
No, what did he say? I missed. I couldn't hear him.
Okay, good. He didn't hear.
Yeah. What?
Anyway, Cutter Crawford. Yeah.
Just the last month has not been pretty for our boy after such a promising start. You go back to May 13th, that's 5 starts, 28 innings, 20 earned runs, 4 home runs. The ERA is 6.4. The FIP is 4.4. Okay, so a little unlucky maybe.
Already, we're back.
But I mean, not wins and losses. They're not everything. But my guy's 0 for 4. So I mean, it's concerning. I mean, I do think it was bound to happen. He didn't give up a home run until May 1st. He's given up 5 since then, and 1 in each of his last 4 starts. But I almost wonder if it's the innings are already starting to tax him, which would be an issue. Because I mean, God,
what's his inning
he's going
count at
6
now?
innings regularly. He's at 74 already, 74 and a third. Let me compare that to
Tanner's up there too. Tanner leads the AL in innings. I mean, he's been splendid, and we can talk about him later. But
Cutter is 3 innings away from surpassing his 2022 total, and last year he threw 129. So,
Oh shit!
I mean, if he's
what?
really going to keep this up, like, I mean, he could hit 129 by end of July. If he's still
I don't know the math off the top of my head.
I mean, I'm not going to try that, but like at the pace he's on, like, I mean, him and Houck both, you're like, oh, holy shit, these guys are going to throw 200 innings. No, I don't expect that to happen. But I do think there is maybe just a little fatigue there. And I think you saw that's why we had the bullpen game Sunday to give Cutter an extra day ahead of this Philly series because he'll start Tuesday, which I think is smart. But just a little concerning. That's all. It's not a true don't fuck with. It's just
I think it's a little more than
raises some questions.
I think it's a little more than just a little concerning. This is kind of getting into queasy territory with him.
I mean, I would say if June goes, I mean, not that May. I mean, May.
He's earned enough to get a little bit of a leash here. Give him credit for that. I think.
I would say if June is a sequel to May, then we're going to have some issues. I mean, you look in all of April, March and April, he had one start where he gave up more than a single earned run. And then there was only one start in May where he gave up just one earned run. Everything else is more than that. So just putting my hands up, Kevin Hart. Just saying, just putting it out there because it really did feel going into May, we were like, oh wow, like is Cutter the guy? And Tanner has surprisingly our number 5 starter going into the year, been a legitimate ace the whole way through so far. So God bless Tanner. But I'm worried about Cutter. I will say that much.
Yeah. How many homers did you say he's given up in however many starts there? It was.
He has given up 6 since May 1st. He hasn't given up more than 1 home run in a start. So I don't know. Maybe that's good. But outside of 1 start since May 1st, he's given up a home run in what is that, 5 of 6, 6 of 7. So the gopher ball's kind of getting him.
Yeah, exactly, right. And these bumps in the road happen for some pitchers. See how they adjust to them. But I mean, you look at the expected ERA on Savant, it's 56th percentile at about 366. So like that's fine, and he's still getting guys to miss. Or to chase at some pitches, rather. Middle of the road in terms of the amount of guys he's striking out and walking, limiting hard hits pretty well, 79th percentile, forcing no ground balls, 23rd percentile there. So, I mean, again, I think he's earned enough leash here based on his performances to start the year. This could just be a tough spot.
Oh, yeah, I think it's
let Bailey cook in the pitching lab. Let's go back to the drawing board a little bit and see if this is just kind of just a bad blip on the radar and nothing more than that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's also a case of we went into this season with like 0 expectations from the starters, and then they came out of the gates blazing, and now you see a couple of them
you got to recalibrate,
start to cool off a bit, and you're like, oh wait, hold on, like. This isn't actually the 95 Braves here.
No 3 Hall of Famers, but so far, who knows? Maybe, but
yeah, you never know. But yeah, no, that's my don't fuck with. I have a general idea of what both of yours will be.
Yeah,
after that conversation.
So
if that's a good segue.
I have a couple different candidates for both of these things. So I want Jake to make these decisions for me. I want to see what he has as a fuck with and a don't fuck with, and I'm going to base mine based off of that. So the floor is yours, Wallinger.
Okay. I'm gonna fuck with. You know what? This one's a little out there, but hear me out. I'm gonna say Cooper Criswell. I know he wasn't great last game, but I think but I've been thinking about it. I think for a guy who is your 7th starter, I think he's done more than what we could ask.
100%. Yeah, you can't ask the world from him every time that he's coming out there. Again, it's similar to a Rob Refsnyder situation where, okay, the team is dilapidated. Half the team is in the injury ward at the hospital. We need someone to step up. And Criswell has been, very admirable on that front. 100%.
Not much to say on his front. I just think he's eating innings for the most part, which is not even the guys that were at the front of the rotation last year could say that. So I think the fact that we have that much depth this year is nice.
You to Cooper Criswell is like Marge Simpson to potatoes.
I just think he's neat. I just think he's neat. But Fitz, don't fuck with, and I think we all know what I'm going to say here, Mr. Brian Bayo.
There it is. Okay, we need to have this. We need to
Does
have
this
this
guy
conversation.
It's time to start a
suck?
dialogue.
Does he fucking suck or what? What is this?
I'm more
A
concerned
grand
about
slam
Bayo,
to the 2024 Chicago White Sox?
Yeah, I mean,
Let's be serious.
I understand. Red Sox fans seem excited about Brian Bayo. I do understand that. I get that, but
Hey, maybe they cooked.
Jake, do you know John Boy Dub?
Yeah, I hate to say it, but
No. I mean, Jake, without looking, do you know what Brian Bayo's ERA is on the year?
5.3.
Okay, give him a little bit more credit.
4.9.
478.
You know, that's lower than it feels like.
The expected ERA is 4.3, so he's got that going.
Gosh,
464.
I don't know. It's just like it sucks with Bayo too because he'll throw that changeup and it's like, oh, this kid, he's nasty, and then he just completely loses it.
Here's the thing, though, Jake. The changeup is not nasty this year. The
No, it's
changeup has
bad.
not been good.
Oh,
It
really?
is
He's given up
technically
5 home runs on it.
It is technically his best pitch, and the run value on it is -2, according to Savant.
Oh, no.
And that's still technically his best pitch. I mean, again, I wrote this in the brushback last year. Or last night that was published today, Monday.
Last
Beg
year, I
pardon
was like,
on
Fitz,
it.
do
Yeah,
you
last
want us to
year.
remember that?
Yeah, no, I'm yesterday, last night, beg pardon. 3 pitches below 0 on run value. Run value of -2. It's just the expected slugging on the changeup, just to give you an idea. It's jumped up from 256 last year to 426 this season. He's not getting enough bats to miss. He's giving up too loud contact. He's letting too many guys off the hook at times with walks. It's been concerning. He doesn't have the sinker and the slider. I understand he wanted to incorporate the slider as a new part of the arsenal this year. That hasn't 100% come to plan. Maybe that works out down the line, but man, it's been rough. It's been bad.
I mean, I was thinking about this over the weekend during that disastrous inning in Chicago Saturday. I almost wonder if he's a guy where, like, Bailey's philosophy of, kind of just throwing the 4-seamer in the bin has come back to hurt him, and these are just growing pains. Because, I mean, the sinker, the expected batting average on that is the highest among his 3 pitches. For the changeup, despite giving up the most home runs out of any other pitches, the expected batting average on that is 222. So I almost wonder if it's just like he's getting into counts where hitters can just sit on the changeup.
And when people are connecting on it, they're clobbering it. I mean, that grand slam he gave up, that was an 0-1
A
count.
moonshot.
A middle nothing changeup at 88. Like on a fucking platter, dick high, begging.
I'm so glad I
cleared.
couldn't watch that game. I was at a wedding.
That inning, oh my
I couldn't
God.
watch that game.
And Will Fleming said it on the radio broadcast on Sunday. Is this a matter of, I hate to sound like a sports radio caller now, but is this a matter of just like Bayo, is he getting in his own head more? Because it seems like, and Fleming said this, it seems like if 1 or 2 things go wrong in an inning, these things start to snowball a bit with him. And we've seen multiple instances of this. And look, Cora's comments after the game with Bayo's outbursts, I thought were on the nose.
I mean,
like, hey, you can't be doing that shit, dude. And it sounded like, that could be water under the bridge.
OB during the Sunday broadcast straight up called it a tantrum. I was like,
It was.
damn, he's spitting.
Yeah, you get
not
his
for-
ass,
and not for
OB.
nothing,
You
Bayo
get
kind of
his
does
ass.
do this. If something goes wrong, like the face sinks. Like, hey, listen, if I gave up a grand slam to the 2024 White Sox too, I wouldn't be happy about it. But like, you've got to lock back.
I don't think you would though, Fitz. I don't think you would.
Well, I wouldn't be on the mound in the first place, I suppose. But I mean, again, he just turned 25, and you're right, Liam. Maybe these are all just growing pains. Whether it's the body language, the attitude, like not letting mistakes just what's the word, like when it builds interest, like it gains it.
Compounds.
Compounds. Thank you, Mr. Finance Man down there. Morning Brew man helping me out there. I love business, baby. I love doing business. But yeah, letting the mistakes compound. Developing this slider as an actual pitch that he can deploy, with some authority down the line. Progression is not linear. I'm not the first person to say that. I'm not the last. He can grow out of this, but it's getting concerning. The ERA is damn near fucking 5, man. For a guy that you just extended through, 29? This is... Jake. Man.
No, it's not good.
Man.
And
I
don't
almost
know-
think it's I almost think you need to. I think he needs to incorporate a fourth pitch. Like I said earlier, I mean, last year he had the cutter and the four seamer. He didn't throw the cutter that often, only 41 times. But like even with the four seamer, he threw that. He threw it the third most out of any of his pitches. Like again, he wants more of the slider, and I'm sure that's Bailey too, pushing like your slider's good, throw it. I just don't think where he's at right now, he can live on 3 pitches.
I was going to say, you want him to develop a fourth. The 3 pitch mix that he's got going right now has not been there. And maybe that fourth pitch, who knows if they lean back on the four-seamer, right? But it's just...
It is strange to me he hasn't thrown the four-seamer once when he threw it 540 times last year. I understand what they're trying to do, like, development-wise with the pitchers, like, throw your best stuff, but I mean, now I'm going to sound like a boomer where I'm like, you need a four-seam fastball if you're going to be a starter.
Right.
It doesn't need to be your best pitch.
If a guy whose
you need to be able to
profile...
play pitches off of it.
Right? I mean, I'll pull up the Savant page here as well. I love my red and blue circle website. I need it like I need air to breathe. Or do you already have it pulled up there, Liam?
I've got it right here. I'm looking at him right
rate?
now.
What's his ground ball rate?
He's 92nd percentile. It's 51%.
92nd percentile on that.
Yeah, the ground ball. He's still getting ground balls. The fastball velo is 78
So
percentile.
just keep the sinker in there if you're still getting ground balls.
Right,
But
obviously.
Just get anything else that's in the air is getting fucking mollywopped. It must be. It's just
But
watching it. It's
yeah. I mean, the hard hit. He's 26th percentile. It's like,
and even during these outings where he has, he does slip on a banana peel. There are other times where it's like, okay, like that was a great inning there. Like he locked in there, was able to miss some bats. And he doesn't do that consistently enough, but there are times where it's like, okay, he's looking good in this second or third inning, and then it kind of falls apart, So,
I mean, I will say, I said this to you guys in the group chat when we were talking Saturday. Like, I appreciate that he's animated. Like, he's clearly a guy that cares. He wants to do well. It is just kind of, I don't know.
Of course, yeah, you want
process.
guys to care 100%. That's not, but that's one thing.
He wants to do well. Well, he should do well.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that solves it. That solves it.
If he's a good pitcher, then how come he don't pitch good? To loosely quote Moneyball, but yeah, it's one thing to animate and show you care. That is great. I agree, but like you said, Jake, like calling in a tantrum, like that. There's something different there.
Gotta agree.
Like grow up, man. Come on.
Grow
Grow up.
You were the opening day starter.
Grow up, yeah. Again, and I'm confident that they can figure it out. It's just right now it's very frustrating. The development will come down the line. We got time to figure it out. He's locked in. So, yeah.
It is funny. It really does feel like when you watch him, all the home runs are just absolute bombs.
Fucking taters.
It's crazy. It's going to be my one memory of him from this season.
Yeah. So, yeah, Jake not fucking with Brian Bayo. Jake, did you give your fuck with?
Coop,
that's right. Okay. So, Bayo was one of my candidates for don't fuck with. My fuck with for the week,
I wonder why.
How do we not... we've alluded to it. It has to be Tanner Houck. Keep it with the pitching. I mean,
Okay, yeah, sure, yeah.
Right? It's how
He's
do you
pretty
not-
good. He's pretty good.
How do you not sit here this entire time after what he did Thursday night? And I mean, he brought a no-hitter, into the 6th, 7th inning? He's been stellar, man. And on the flip side, he on the flip side with him, it feels like he's like Teflon. Nothing sticks to him whenever he makes a mistake. He's just so stoic, and he's just able to lock back in, at least for this year. And we've given him.
I truly don't feel like he's gotten in trouble at all, ever.
Right.
In the start
What's
this
his
year.
worst
On
game
Thursday.
this year? What is his worst game this year?
Let me pull up his game logs. So
Good radio.
there was okay, so it was his first start at home against the Angels. So it would have been marathon weekend. It was that Friday. It was that first Fenway Friday. Fuck Fenway Fridays. He went 5 2/3, gave up 4 earned runs, 7 runs total. But the defense,
Dude,
fucked
I
him
would've-
first inning.
Dude,
know that
I
because
would
was
have
there.
I would have killed someone for a start like that last year from anyone.
Like,
5
still going
2/3.
5
That's
innings. You're still going into the 6th
yes,
inning. You kidding me?
yes.
You kidding me?
And that was his worst start?
Yeah, 4 earned runs and 5 2/3.
Yeah. Hey,
Like,
that's almost a quality start.
and then he had 2 starts at the beginning of May where he gave up 3 earned runs each, but still went 6 and 7.
Who
Like-
invented quality starts, by the way? Kind of a stupid thing. I'm not the first person to say that, but like 3 earned runs in 6 innings. I don't know if I'd
It's
say
like there. Thanks
it's
for
like
doing
it's
your
like
job.
mid. We call it like a mid start. That's like
Thanks for showing up today.
That's
what
a 4.5
quality start.
ERA,
Yeah, it's a
right?
4.5
6 runs
ERA.
in-
That's not quality. That's like a third or fourth starter.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's not quote unquote quality kind of start, but Houck has been, back to the point, Houck has been inspirational so far this year, putting himself right in the conversation to start the All-Star game in about a month. Another thing I mentioned in the blog last year / yesterday, Jake, the splitter usage going up
Cutter?
has been nice and
I mean
no,
Tanner?
for
I mean
Tanner,
Tanner.
yeah.
Excuse
To
me.
add some vertical drop to the nasty horizontal movement of the slider and the gas that he's able to provide, that's a nice little profile right there. The splitter usage has gone up from around 11% to damn near a quarter of the time in 2024. He's getting nasty movement on all of his pitches. It's
I
been
mean, he's
great.
going to be an all-star, which is crazy.
Again, he's
I think
in the mix to potentially start the All-Star
Skubal
game.
to me
Well,
is his only
Skubal-
competition for
Yeah,
starter.
Skubal I feel like is probably going to start, but maybe not. I don't know. We'll see how the next month goes.
Skubal gets, he gets fucking raked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Over the course of the next month while Houck's still cooking. Then,
I mean, it is crazy. He is 3rd in the league in innings pitched, 3rd in the league in ERA, 3rd in the league in WHIP. Like,
what's his?
he's literally he's
What's
going.
our control? What's the? We don't have him for many more years, do we?
Let me see.
Might have been good to get that one done, Craig. Again, I said this last week. It is
hindsight's
funny.
2020 on that front.
It is so funny that he extended the worst pitcher on the team.
Earliest free agent 28. So does that mean after the 28 season or before?
No,
or
I believe
winter
that. I
following
believe
the
that means
27
the
season?
after the 27 season.
Okay, so we still got time.
3 years. Yeah.
So what?
3
He's
years.
entering his arbitration years now.
Yeah, he's earliest ARB 25. So yeah,
There you go.
All
So
right.
there you have it.
Well,
So-
hey.
But no, he's been stellar, and maybe most people missed that because they were watching Game 1 of the finals.
Understandably.
Yeah, I get it, right? It's, Game 1 of the finals or first game of a 4-game series between the Pale Hose and the
Or
Red
my
Sox.
30-30 Red Sox.
Taking on a 15-win team. Right? But no, shout out Tanner Houck. He's been great. Are you gonna indulge me on my don't fuck with?
What do you mean? What does that mean?
Are you gonna indulge me? Yeah, answer the
Everybody gets
question.
both. Everybody gets both.
It's John Henry, guys.
Oh,
It's John
yeah,
Henry.
that makes
It's John
sense.
Henry.
I didn't know
it's-
if we were gonna do this.
Chris Cotillo was right. Like, he's been pounding on the desk. He tweeted, he said, I've been pounding on the desk for John Henry to be more forthcoming, to talk with the media more, make himself more available. He takes it all back. Because if that's the shit that he's going to provide in an email interview, then maybe it's best for everybody involved if he just shuts the fuck up. There are about 15 different things in that interview that made my blood boil, from the fact that he thinks that every team has a 1 in 30 chance to win a championship. Or
I mean,
and Dan-
Fitz, technically that is true.
yeah, technically correct, which is the best form of correct.
Can't
yeah,
argue.
like
Can't
Futurama.
argue with it.
Like,
Yeah, and Dan
29
Secatora-
teams in a given year, Fitz. One team wins the championship. 29 teams don't.
Jake
So,
Jake Shapiro over here.
yeah, I mean, I
facts
don't,
don't
you
care.
don't have to
Don't
hand it to
fear.
John, but he
Yeah,
did.
right?
He cooked a little with that one. I
But
think.
Jake, it's not true though. It's not fucking true because teams make moves to improve their chances. And then he says the same thing with Liverpool 1-20. Liam, you and I both know that there's no fucking chance that Sheffield United has like any shot to win the Premier League. And if they do
No.
have a shot, it's certainly not 1-20.
No, I mean it would have to be a not like Leicester City level miracle.
Yeah, once every
Like,
1,000 years. Yeah, Haley's
Right.
Comet passes through more often than teams like that winning. It's just not true to say 1-30. So that was a load of shit.
Do you guys think he's all there, John? And like, that's not a joke. Like, do you think he's completely lucid?
I mean, would that explain like some of the
Like,
changes?
no,
of his-
but I just mean like maybe like the hermitness of it all.
I don't know.
Like even Bob Nutting fucking shows up sometimes, you know.
Well, hey, John Henry does show up to Fenway Park if the Savannah.
You're right.
He
went
was at the
he had to
Savannah
see
Bananas
Banana
game.
Ball. He
Yeah.
had to see Banana Ball.
Him
I
calling.
will say
the
I
fucking-
did see him in his box on Marathon Monday, but that's also another
Well,
like
that's nice.
special event.
There you go. Yeah, that's very nice of him to do the bare minimum. The bar is in fucking hell. Jesus Christ. I don't know what has changed over the years, but I think maybe I'm reading too much into the tea leaves with this, but the fact that he mentioned that the team isn't going to be sold, which is fine, whatever. Him saying that
That's
we don't
never
generally
happening.
sell
I'll
our
be honest.
Of course
I don't
not.
think
But
it's
him
ever
but him
happening.
saying we don't typically sell our quote unquote assets like that. Maybe this is me reading too much into it, but I think that says a whole lot. Maybe that's a Freudian slip, but I understand it's
No, I just think
technically
that's
an
how he
asset in the
talks.
portfolio.
I think that's just how he talks.
Yeah, and it fucking sucks, Liam. It sucks ass the way
Yeah.
he talks, and that maybe I do want him to shut up for all eternity now if he's going to be talking like that. Though the team is a fucking asset. That's what you view this team as primarily, an asset.
I mean,
I don't know.
That's just like billionaire slang. Like I don't think that's
billionaire grind set.
yeah. That's
I think it's
that
the
grind
implication
set.
of that term asset. That's just all you've. This is just a way for you to add more zeros at the end of your bank account. Doesn't mean anything more to you than that. Which
Fitz, are you
that's
pocket
completely giving up
watching?
the game.
Is Fitz pocket watching right
For
now?
I think
one
he is.
person in
Yikes.
particular, yes, for one guy.
Fitz said, if John Henry's really has more money than me, why doesn't he do a money spread?
The Floyd Mayweather picture with the money all on the table. For one guy and one guy only. I don't know. It pissed me off. And I'm not fucking with him.
Yeah, Fitz. You know what? It's fine. You don't
No,
have
I
that
will
grind
say-
set, but don't suck me and Liam into it. All right,
Sorry you're not
No,
making
I will
your...
say,
Fitz. John Henry asked to raise the rent so that he asked his landlord to raise his rent. So he can grind
that's how much
harder.
he believes in his grind and hustle.
Sorry, Fitz, that you don't make your network your net worth. Sorry you're not a disruptor, Fitz, okay?
Yeah.
Fuck
I'm trying to skim through the full like Financial Times article because all I saw really were Cotillo's comments and just like the bits and pieces of quotes that made it into that Mass Live piece.
Yeah,
don't
our
think-
fans expect a championship every year. No, we expect
no
fucking
shit.
competence
You-
at the
you
top
set,
and people to care.
You set those expectations.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the
yeah.
thing.
My brother in Christ, you made the sandwich. But even that, I don't think that most fans even expect to drop a banner every year. They expect some sort of competitiveness and competence in a sign that the brass actually gives a shit about this institution that is ingrained into the region of this region of the country. I don't think people expect banner after banner after banner after banner after banner. I think they just expect the people driving the ship to care enough to put some competence and competition onto the field, whether or not that results in a championship. To care, to actually show that you care. We've talked about this point ad nauseum, so I'm not breaking any new ground here, but it's just reiterating this point.
I gotta say, if you look back, like, not that they have lucked into any. 2013. But
Yeah, I mean, I'll say forever that team fell ass backwards into a championship. That was not a championship
If you
roster.
go back 15 years now, like, when was the last time there was a 3-year period where we had
16, 17,
stability?
18. That's it.
And everything else, it's been like,
Yeah.
what's the plan?
No, I think
2012.
Liam,
They trade all the
think
guys they signed the winter
since-
before.
And if you
2011.
wanted to be generous, you could put 19 in there. I just don't think
No.
things broke.
No, I
their
will not
way.
be generous. They sucked ass that year.
That
I hated
offense was one of
watching
the
that.
best offenses in baseball. What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah. And how was the pitching, Fitz?
It was awful, yes, but there were
Thank
some
you.
things
Andrew-
that
Andrew
didn't break their
Kastner at the
way in
deadline,
that
baby.
year.
Yeah,
Andrew
Andrew
Kastner
Kastner at the deadline. Thanks, defending
need that.
champions. Thanks. Since what was it? Did they make the playoffs in 10? No.
No, they had 89 wins though. In
All right,
10
so
and
10,
11.
so 10, 11.
I would say
so-
post 11, they've just been like rudderless
Yeah.
outside of 16, 17.
I
18.
kind of can't believe 18 happened, actually.
Which is also like, okay, 16, 17, 18, you can also argue is like, oh, like, okay, Theo's fingerprints are all over those teams. Because
I mean, yeah, Theo drafted Mookie, right?
Mookie and Bradley, like that was his final draft. He signed.
Oh,
he
that's
signed
the
Xander.
screenwriting. That's what you write screenplays on. That's the service. Final Draft.
Oh,
It's the
okay.
software.
I must be loyal
How
to my
about
capo. That's what was on Final Draft.
Yeah,
there.
it was on Final Draft. Maybe not back then, but yeah, these days.
Beautiful, beautiful girl.
Yeah,
Thank you.
the roof was soft tar. What if we're good next year, though? Hey, I don't know.
I'm just
Again-
kind of like there hasn't been a consistent philosophy for 15 years now. You'd think they'd figure it out because as soon as they signed on and bought the team, they were like Moneyball, 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 and they were good. And Theo was great.
Whoa,
Theo was
Money
great in the-
what are you talking about? Moneyball.
like they were the first like major franchise to dive
Yeah,
into
to subscribe to the
That wasn't-
philosophies of
yeah.
that.
Oh,
Not
like
that wasn't-
analytics,
oh,
not like
yes.
not like dumpster diving.
No,
for
but you know
players.
you know what I mean. They tried to hire Billy Bean.
Well,
Like,
now I know what you mean. I was a fan.
I've seen the movie.
I was a little confused when you were positioning the team that was paying Manny Ramirez the biggest contract in baseball
no.
history at the time.
No.
A
I mean-
Moneyball squad.
maybe the last 3 years we've been trying that, but
Yes.
but yeah, that's why I'm just like
2013 was a Moneyball team. That like legitimately that team
I
was
think
full
where it
on
was like,
Moneyball.
we'll pay these veterans high
Yeah.
per annual deals, but shorter years, and see what happens.
Yeah,
And Charrington
Well-
sold his soul to the devil.
he did
We'll
They
we'll create
fucking
Carl
hate
Crawford
him.
in the aggregate.
in Pittsburgh. They hate Ben Cherington.
I do feel bad for him. Like,
I feel bad. Ben Cherington, maybe the fakest championship GM in the history of sports. Like,
he had
nothing
one
he
For
did
that, we're forever
outside-
grateful.
He had one.
No,
perfect
I know,
offseason.
but it's just like his resume is literally one good year. He won a ring and dog shit otherwise. Like it's fascinating. That's I don't know how else to put it.
But yeah, fuck John Henry. That's the point. That's
Sure, for sure. Fitz,
That's what I
absolutely.
got for this week. So, all right. Do we want to step aside for a moment? Then we'll get into a voicemail. Voicemail. Let's do it.
How
Back
many do
after
we
this.
have? Is it just
Oh.
one?
Just the one.
Oh, okay. All right. Still, yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah. We'll be back after this. All right. Let's listen to this bad boy. It says actually 2, but it says transcription not available. It's the same number around the same time. Let's see what do we got here. iPhone.
Hey fellas, this is Damien from Virginia. I'm a transplant from the Northeast Kishwaukee.
We said Damon from Virginia. Yeah, so here, this is a long one.
Hey fellas,
It's long.
3 minutes,
here. I'm a transplant.
and then the follow up is a minute 30. So got some homework.
Hey fellas, this is Damien from Virginia. I'm a transplant from the Kishwaukee. I became a Red Sox fan, but
Fitz, turn up a little bit.
John Henry's philosophy for roster building I want to throw out to you. I'm curious if you agree or disagree or what have you. Looking at their win-loss records, their playoff appearances and stuff since he took over the team. The first real full season that he had his people in place was 2003, having Theo Epstein in the front office, obviously. From 2003 to 2011, and I'm breaking these chunks down intentionally. I'll explain why in just a moment.
It almost seems like he's giving this exact same point about being front.
That we-
Yeah, what are the odds
That's
we just had that
crazy.
conversation?
Hold on, let's hear the rest of it.
I was thinking the same thing.
2003 to 2011, they went to the playoffs 6 times. They won 2 titles.
Fitz, I need louder.
It's up all the way it is, dude. I don't know what to tell you.
Please don't yell at me. I'm
Then
sorry.
if you don't talk, you'll hear it.
Just a moment. 2003 through 2011, they went to the playoffs 6 times. They won 2 titles. Extremely successful run, obviously. During that time, Hugh Epstein talked about aiming for around 95 wins, and that the goal was just to get to the playoffs, not necessarily to win the division. Right? And they talked about how you get to the playoffs. It's a bit of a crapshoot. You just get there often enough. You hope you get lucky a couple of years and go deep. It worked. It was great. But in 2011, after the season, the league office introduced an extra wild card team for each league. And so the threshold for getting into the playoffs dipped a little bit. And one more team further back in the standings that's getting in. So maybe that threshold is a little more low 90s instead of mid 90s. Well, the Red Sox, in the following 10 years, go to the playoffs 5 times. And I think they were kind of aiming for that low 90s win total. Now, obviously, 2 of those teams.
Oh, hold on. Sorry.
Follow up.
Nope. No, it's my screen died.
The 2013 team was way better than anybody expected, except maybe Justin Pedroia, who legend has it, predicted he was going to win, or they were going to win the World Series to a caveat in spring training. But 2018 that's just that once in a lifetime, everything goes perfect year. But the other 3 years, 2016 and 2017, they won 93 games. 2021, they won 92. So it kind of feels like they might have been aiming a little lower. Right? Just aim for that threshold to get into the playoffs consistently. Even that 2019 team, they won 84 games. Their Pythagorean record was 87 wins.
Yeah, you hear that, Jake?
Obviously, they haven't performed what was expected. They probably thought they had something in the low 90s at the very least. But after 2021, you've got that third wildcard team introduced. And the last 2 seasons, obviously, the Red Sox have not been competitive in terms of record, but that threshold for making the playoffs looks like it's probably more high 80s than low 90s. Right? The Tampa Bay Rays went in 2022 with 86 wins. Last year's Arizona Diamondbacks won all the way to the World Series. They won, like 84, I think it was. The threshold's even lower. And you look at these Red Sox teams and just look at the win-loss record, like they're not close to that. But those 278-win teams, they were basically 500 teams for 5 out of the 6 months of the season. They each had one horrific month. 2022 team was.
So the limit is 3 minutes, so that's why you called again.
Virginia again. I think my phone dropped the call, so I'm just going to pick up where I left off. I'll try to wrap it up quickly. The 2022 team had a horrible July. I think they only won 8 games. The 2023 team had a terrible September on one day in October, of course, where they only won 9. So if you swap those out with, a good month instead of a bad month, you might be looking at a team that's winning in those high 80s. One or both of those teams could have gone to the playoffs, right? And that just might be a swing of some luck and a handful of other factors. It feels like Henry's aiming for that threshold that would get you into the playoffs and not trying to put necessarily the best team possible on the field. It's worked in the previous iterations where you had 2 wildcard teams and 1 wildcard team. My concern is that when you're aiming for a high 80s team, that your error bars on the results are going to be larger, and you're going to have wilder swings from, wins like 78, like they had the last 2 seasons, and of course, you go the opposite way, you might end up closer to the playoffs. So it's concerning. I'm wondering if there's a miscalculation here where they're expecting similar results to what they've had in the previous 2 iterations of the playoff configuration, and it's just not going to happen. Or, of course, maybe I'm just looking at this and seeing causation where there is correlation. You guys tell me. What are your thoughts? I apologize. My wife just popped in and gave me a bit of side eye because I need to put my kid to bed, so I definitely need to wrap it up. Go Sox. Obey your mother. Thanks.
We're back. Pod on, Lansdowne, Jake Fitz, and Liam. Final segment of the program. Voicemail time. Now listen, this is a longer voicemail than what we usually have. We're approaching 5 minutes on this. I believe it said Damon or Damien from Virginia. It says Damon on the voice translator part of Google Voice. That also could be Damien because that AI doesn't always perfectly transcribe it. But our pal from Virginia, almost not exactly 100% on this message, guys. Echoed what we were just talking about being rudderless post
Kinda
2010,
It's kind of
2011.
eerie, actually, as that
And
voicemail
I
progressed.
swear
and
to
you
goodness,
just talked about that.
On everything that I hold near and dear to my heart, I swear on them, we did not listen to these voicemails beforehand. Again, it's not a perfect vis-a-vis, like apples for apples comparison to what we were just talking about, but it almost acts as a perfect add-on to what we were just talking about. So let's put in the voicemail right here. All right, again, thank you very much for that well thought out voicemail there. We really appreciate you taking the time to speak with that while you had to put a kid to bed, apparently. So, multitasking here, all for the love of the program. And you mentioned towards the end, is this a situation of correlation and causation? And maybe to an extent, because you have to take factors into account, like the competitiveness of the American League East. You know what I mean? You could still try to put forth, the best team in the division, but you're still you're still competing with the Yankees and
It
the
is
mid
funny
2010s like Toronto.
when we talk about
and
like
then,
the golden age of, so not to cut you off, but just it made me think. Not to cut you off, but I'm going to cut you off. When we talk about the golden age of like those Sox and Yankees rivalries, like the aughts and kind of into the early 2010s. Just the rest of the AL East was just fucking dog shit for
So
a
bad.
decade. Like they were
even then
they were each winning like 65 games. It was
mid
like not even
2010s, you still have Baltimore and Toronto playing well. The emergence of the Rays, maybe not all 5 teams being good all at the same time,
sure.
but you had
like
moments.
from like 2002 to like 07.
Sure.
It was
Yeah,
they were all fucking terrible.
You could circle Tampa and at times Toronto. I'd be like, those are easy wins there.
Yeah,
You know what
I
mean?
think during that run, like 06 was the only year it wasn't Yankees Red Sox 1 and 2. Like I think the Blue Jays leaped us in 06, and that was the only year in like the aughts where some combination of Yankees Red Sox wasn't 1 and 2 in the AL East.
And Baltimore would have a moment here or there where they were good, but then they'd be dog shit. They came out blazing hot the first half of, 2005? They were amazing.
Yeah,
They
the Sammy
just-
Sosa year. Yeah.
Yep, and Palmeiro's still there, and then they just completely shat the bed like after that, I think. So you have to take some of that into account, but I mean, yeah, that kind of goes to what we have seen recently, this unwillingness to really go all in and make a true competitive team, but try to sneak into the playoffs, like with this new iteration of roster building that we've had with multiple general managers at this point. Yeah, I mean,
And I
It's-
think, I mean, not to be like, not to really, I don't know. I'm not trying to get John Henry off the hook here, but I do think it's like a league wide epidemic where owners are like, oh, there's 3 wild cards now. Like the front offices
I mean, you're
are
seeing
like,
it now. The
let's
team
just
is a game and a
let's
half
just
back
be-
of.
let's just be good enough. And listening to that voicemail, it reminded me of Jerry DiPoto's comments last October at like their end of season presser, where he basically kind of like said that part out loud and was like, we operate with a 10-year plan to win 54% of the time. And then the follow-up quote was, we're actually doing the fan base a favor in asking for their patience to win the World Series while we continue to build a sustainably good roster. Which I'm like, that's all fine and dandy. Because yes, you want to be able to compete every year, but you can't come out and say that. But I do think that mindset is prevalent in probably, I don't know, all but 3 front offices at
I
the
was
moment.
gonna say it's
The
both of
Phillies,
them.
the Dodgers, the Yankees is really what I got right
And
now.
also
the
in the
Yankees,
context-
even sometimes they make me question it.
And
But
if that's been the mindset of the Red Sox, that okay, they're trying to build a long-term sustainable thing, that's all great too. 2018 was 6 years
which we
ago.
know,
If you want to
because
talk
that's-
about it,
they
you want to
wouldn't
talk
have
about a
hired
10
Heim if that wasn't the case.
Yeah, you want to talk about a 10-year plan? Fine. Say it started in 2020. This is year 5 now. So you're talking
we
about
got
trying to
nothing.
win sustainably there. Yeah, you had a magical run in 21.
That was a magical. They'll never take that from me.
That was great, and then you also you have a couple of last place finishes
Nothing
to
good
show
ever
for it
happened
there too.
again.
So you want to talk about sustainably winning over the course of a decade, where call
No
it
good
after
days.
call it after the dismissal of Dombrowski. That's when this started. You're in year 5 of that. So it's got to come at some point. It's got to come at some point. If you're going to point to that and say, "Oh, that's what we're trying to do," that's again, like you had mentioned, Liam. That's all fine and dandy.
I mean,
we have not seen the ROI at this point.
There's only 10 teams over 500 in the league, and I mean,
we're a game and a half out of a
That's what I'm
playoff
saying.
spot.
This is the 3rd year of them. They're going to be approaching the deadline potentially at around 500 again, just on the outside looking in, knocking on the door potentially, and we're about to get to that situation again where, okay, what's the team going to do? Now, I do appreciate Craig Breslow going forward this week and saying, okay, they're actually going to pick a decision one way or the other. They're not going to try to half-ass this.
I know. That is nice to hear.
That is nice to hear. Now, actions speak louder than words. We'll see what happens at the deadline. We have nothing to base it off of with Breslow, but at the very least, he's forward enough to say it that they're going to either choose to be buyers or choose to be sellers. But again, you're halfway through this quote-unquote 10-year plan, and what do you have to show for it? To try to build a sustainable winner. Well, we haven't built a sustainable winner.
it is kind of crazy. I'm looking at the 20 teams, or really, I guess, the 19 teams that are under 500. And there's really only like 4 teams in here where I can be like, yeah, they went into this season actively trying to win. That's not good. It's not good at all, folks. I mean, I understand like parity is fun and all. It's cool when, markets that aren't usually in it are in it.
Sure, but the Red Sox should win the World Series every year.
Well, yes, with the resources we have, no doubt. But it's like, I don't know, if you look league-wide, I'm like, is this really the best? Are we really putting the best product out there?
No.
As a sport?
And they haven't. Oh, with the team, but yeah, the sport
It's
is
like,
as a whole.
both. Obviously, the Red Sox have not put the best product out there, despite what they'll try to tell you. So, yeah, I think it's not just John Henry.
Liam Fennessy, the John Henry defender, has logged on.
Yeah.
I'm trying to lend a larger perspective.
Sure.
Here.
And look, one
it's
way
a
or
larger
the other,
issue than just us.
owners sitting back and collecting their paychecks one way or the other and adding to their net worth. This is not anything new. This is not something that's new with 3 wildcard teams. This has been a thing for years and years and years now. I'm sure if you look back, I'm sure teams are like, well, why even bother if only 4 teams make it into the playoffs in the AL or the NL? You know what I mean? Why even bother? They're still going to make money off of it. I read somewhere in The Athletic, maybe it wasn't The Athletic. I forget specifically where I read it, but there was a tidbit that Oakland last year, despite being a complete mess, still had the 5th best profit based on what they spent or something along those lines. The A's still, that ownership group still made a lot of money is the point. And despite
John Fisher's okay. John Fisher's okay.
Yeah, Fisher is fine. He made a lot of money last year after fielding an awful baseball team. So owners are going to be content to sit on their hands one way or the other as a whole. You would hope that a bigger playoff system would incentivize teams to push more of their chips in to try to make that run. But maybe the inverse effect is happening.
I mean, we talked about. I remember we were talking about it last summer. We're like, we need to push the deadline back because teams are either sitting on their hands or still think they're in it, and nobody's doing anything.
No, they desperately need. If they're gonna roll with this playoff
With
structure,
3 wild cards,
the deadline's got to be
push it
like
back.
September 1st now because it sucked ass last year.
I think you've converted me on that point. I think I'm with you on that. I wasn't so sure at first, but I think I've been swayed on that.
I'm curious. I was trying to figure it out. Because of all the trade deadlines, the NHL trade deadline is the one that consistently pops the most after.
It's because it's later in the year, right?
Yeah, well, I was trying to figure out what the equivalent.
And half the conference makes it into the playoffs in the NHL, right?
Yeah, so this season, the trade deadline was on March 8th. So
When do
crazy.
playoffs
When did
start?
playoffs
Probably
start?
Mid-April.
Playoffs start mid-April. So I'm gonna just pull up how many. So on March 8th, the Bruins had played. I'm a Bruins fan. I'll use them as an example. They had played 65 games
Out of what, 82?
out of 82. So what is that? Does somebody want to? So
What is
that they had
65 divided by
17.
82?
They had 7. Yeah. What is that?
That is 79% of their games. Damn near 80.
Okay, so then what would that be?
162 times 0.80, just call it 80%. That's 129 and a half games. 0.6 actually, to be fair.
So it'd be
Call
like
it
an
a
extra.
what?
It'd be like
3
an
weeks
extra 2
into
weeks,
August.
2-3 weeks.
So, I don't
yeah.
know, August 20th.
Yeah.
call it.
I think they've got to do something like that.
Because even like they got, I don't understand why they got rid of like what they call it, the
The
non-waiver
waiver deadline.
Like why get rid of that then in this case? Like, I mean, that's Verlander on the Astros in 2017. I think Darvish too to the Dodgers in 2017. Like, there were still like massive deals happening in August.
The Nick Punto trade.
That even that, the Billy Wagner edition in 2009. That was a end of August edition. So it was like big things were still happening at the end of the month. Like, teams were still trying to maneuver and make moves. Now you can't, and it's like, oh, you get to July 31st. Well, I don't know. What do we do?
Jim, I don't know, Jim. That's every trade deadline.
Every
now.
team's going to ask themselves with a 2 out of 3 series, be like, well, what if we're the 23 D-backs? What if we're the 22 Phillies? And that's all well and good. I do like parity. I like it to. I don't want every single postseason series to just be chalk, but that does. I mean, that is a good point. Every team's just going to be sitting there being like, well, maybe we make the Cinderella run this year. Maybe we're able to disrupt everything and make that run and shock everybody. Which in a vacuum, that's good, but like it should, we should be encouraging teams to be more aggressive.
Need to put their feet on the fire a little more.
Correct.
Or fuck it, just get rid of the third wild card. I hated it the day it was announced. I'll say
I
it.
don't like it.
I hate it. I miss the wild card game, man. Just the one game. You start the playoffs with a Game 7 atmosphere, and you give that up for what?
Getting
more,
to go
more
to the
national
21
TV rights.
Being
Come
at the
on.
21 wildcard game was like legitimately like one of the more, maybe
I'm
the
sure
most
if we
fun.
lost that game, we'd be pounding on the desk for 2
Well,
out
of course, but then you even
Naturally.
could say go the other way. Like the Yankees had fun. I mean, I'm just saying like that idea that of the one game wild card fucking ruled.
I think if you went back to 5 team, which they'll never do now with the TV, it is what it is.
Nah,
Like,
that's
that
a
cat's out of the bag.
non-starter.
Yeah, they're not
Can
going
I
to give
just?
up the TV.
I will
rights on
say, even when I was younger, before
When I was a boy.
when I was all in the ins and outs of this beautiful sport, I consistently was like, it is kind of fucked up that like barely any teams make the playoffs. Like if you're a fan of like a mid-market team, that did suck.
Sure,
I mean,
yeah, but on
like,
the flip side, the NBA and the NHL, I mean, I know the NHL has expanded to 32, but over half the league in the NBA making it to the playoffs.
That's crazy.
Well over now with the play-in.
That's crazy.
That's too much.
And
The
there's
NHL
like
having
rarely ever a Cinderella
literally
run.
half the league making it to the playoffs. That's too much.
I think the NHL is legit perfect, right? I think half. I think
No.
exactly half. Okay,
No.
that's fine.
Disagree. No,
All
it's.
right.
I mean, no, I disagree. I disagree.
Liam,
Liam,
agree with me.
I think both the NBA and the NHL need to shorten the number of games in the first round at the very least.
That'll never happen.
But again, not going to happen.
No,
with
I
the
know
amount
that'll
of
never
TV
happen
game.
because
It
of the
just is
national
what it
TV
is.
deals.
I mean, baseball
it's like,
probably could
I
afford to
mean, did I
chop
really-
a few off too?
Did I really tune into the Celtics nightly during this run until the Eastern Conference Finals? No. Was I following the Cavs in the Heat series? Yeah, of course. But I wasn't locked in, you know?
Yeah.
It's just kind of like that. It's too long.
And Celtics fans would say that about the Red
Porzingis
Sox,
hadn't
too,
played
you know
in
what I mean? Like,
38
if-
days, and that was still, he got hurt in the playoffs. That was 38 days ago? That's half a lifetime. Like, what are we doing? Yeah, no, I think, take me back to the 2012 through 21 MLB playoffs. I think they nailed it.
I think if you did that, but you made it 2 out
It
of
was
3.
the most magical place in the world, wasn't it?
It was. It really was. It breaks my heart, the 2010 and 2011. Quite honestly, if the 2011 Sox, if they had the second wild card,
Oh,
that
they'd
year,
get waxed.
I
They
think
were cooked.
no, but I think our lives would be completely different. I think it would have been like a
the butterfly effect?
Yeah, you don't want to go
If the
back.
2011
and
team-
fuck with it.
because then they just would have like sat on their hands, and there wouldn't have been like any pressure. Be like, oh, we're going into September with 83 wins. We're locked regardless of what happens.
If the second wild card existed that year,
Yeah, it would have been like,
yeah, who would
Okay.
we would have played Tampa in a 1-game wild card?
yeah, it would have been what, Tampa or
No, it had to be
Texas?
Tampa.
Oh, I guess yeah,
Well,
you're
if Tampa
right.
got
No,
the
you're
wild
right.
card, then yeah.
Yeah, who
Yeah,
was the
yeah.
wild card? It was
No, it was. Tampa
It
was
was
a
Tampa
wild card.
because of the
yeah.
Longoria walk-off. Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
they lose that game though. That team was so
100%.
crippled.
100%.
Not crippled literally, but like that, it was over in their. I mean, that was like the saddest group of men.
The starting pitching by the end of that year was heinous.
Who starts that wild card game?
It's a good pick.
I think it was going to be Bruce Chen. I think they had
Oh my
picked Bruce
God.
Chen up like 72 hours before, just in case.
I don't remember that at
Because
all.
they got Bedard at the deadline. Let me
Oh, what? Like in case they had to play a
in
playoff?
case they had to play like a 1-game playoff.
Yeah, just have some arm.
Let me pull this up.
Wow, that would have been. Could you? That's almost worse.
Yeah, this is
Season
okay.
ended off.
This is nuts. All right, so literally 2 hours before first pitch, game 162 in 2011. MLB trade rumors, 4:46 p.m. The Red Sox have given up searching for a starting pitching help, and they'll rely on one of their own pitchers in the event of a play-in game tomorrow. But as of 10:18 that morning, Bruce Chen was among a trade target. They were considering acquiring as a starter for the potential Thursday play-in game. That's so
It's a
chaotic.
trade.
So what was the if the
imagine-
Rays?
who's he-
What's
who
the
was-
play-in if the
Chen
Rays
with-
lose?
Was he with
Is that
Kansas City?
So no, it was going to be like basically, as if I'm remembering right, in Baltimore that night they had like 3 different flights set up. It was like one to go to Texas to play the ALDS, one to go to Tampa to play the play-in, and then one just to go home because it was fucking.
what was the play-in scenario? If Tampa lost their game?
No, I think if they just had the same record, right? Because Tampa ended up with one more win.
Would there be a tiebreaker at that time?
Well, so that's what I just said. I just said that.
No, I think they just would have played it because they had the same record.
No.
right?
I'm saying no. Like I'm saying, what had to happen for that play-in game to occur? If
For them,
Tampa if Tampa lost game 162, does the play-in game then occur?
I guess so. Right?
Okay, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I think that's
this
right.
is starting to
I think
confuse
that's right.
me. No, I
Okay,
kind of zoned
because
out.
what was the? Okay.
This is fucking nuts. They go on to say, in theory, Epstein could look at fully rested starters such as Chin-Ming Wong, Rodrigo Lopez, or Aaron Harang.
The orangutan.
Yeah.
Okay,
and
so yeah, I'm just so yeah.
on 3
Tampa
days- on
finished
3 days
with
rest, but-
Tampa finished 91 and 71, and we finished 90 and 72. So
But yeah, so it would have been at the Trop, and they definitely wouldn't have won. Another option might be activating Clay Buchholz, according to EEI's Rob Bradford.
oh wow.
That's crazy.
Well, maybe
Ben-
they would have
someone-
won that game.
someone-
And Bruce Chen would have been the Boston cult hero. You know.
Yeah, no, that's the other way.
Someone in the comments on MLB Trade Rumors with the username Ben_Charrington. This is stupid. If he hasn't been part of the team, he shouldn't be allowed to play.
It's that video of the guy that.
Why did
his
somebody
hair
have a
whack,
username
his shoe-
Ben Charrington in 2011? Who even knew who that was in 2011? He was the fucking like
insane.
director of scouting for the
That's
Sox?
that's so funny to think about. That I have no chance, like no choice but to believe that's actually Ben Charrington.
I was thinking the same thing. That likely
Right?
is him. Yeah.
His hair
From
whack,
13 years
his
ago.
foot stance whack. Me, I'm tight as fuck.
He goes on to say, "Don't get me wrong. I would like to have him." Speaking of Bruce Chen, as he would be our best option, but I do not think this is right. Also, do the Red Sox want to pin the season on a pitcher who hasn't played for them this year? Yeah, probably.
Yeah, look at the ones that have played for them. Right?
I totally forgot about all that. I don't know how that would have worked. If so, Jen projects as a Type B free agent, what the fuck does that even mean?
Maybe that changed with like a fucking.
It would have been like,
CBA
okay,
that-
so someone who would have gotten an arbitration. What a nightmare. I didn't realize it was like the day of. I always thought it was just like earlier in the week. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
What a ride. That 2011 Sox.
So yeah. Anyways, thanks for the voicemail. Good voicemail.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Good news, bad news here to round out the show, gentlemen. Bad news is Jake. We fucked up. We didn't give songs of the week last week.
Oh shit.
Good news
Even
is
even though you texted me beforehand, Fitz, and I gave you mine,
yes, and I forget what you mentioned. Which one was it?
it was
But the good news is that I'm allowing us to give 2 this week to make up for it. So this will be your first one, Liam. As we look back,
Is that my cue to go?
I was gonna stall and try to find it, but
No, I got it.
I've got mine.
First
I've
off,
got
last week's song
okay.
of the week for me would have been Uncle Albert, Admiral Halsey.
oh, that's right, because they were doing the hands across the water. Yeah, we got to remember.
Special.
Ringing a bell now. So yes, 100%. Yeah, shout out Macca, who's going back on tour in
and
South
then-
America.
Second song, let me see what I've been listening to this week. Give me this is easy. Close to You, Gracie Abrams. Lock it in.
Little Nepo baby.
Yeah, I was gonna say
classic.
Nepo Baby,
Yeah.
end all Nepo
Yeah.
babies.
Father
Mine is,
killed Star Wars as we know it, but
Mine is Candy by McGee. It's MK.GEE, pronounced McGee.
Okay, that's one.
I'm gonna put you all on. That's a that's one. Okay, and
Yeah.
then my next one. How about Crazier by Taylor Swift?
Ooh, Swifties.
She performed it for the first time ever the other day in Edinburgh. My little sister was there.
How about that? That's
Wow.
right. Yes.
nice.
So there you go. And as for me, I want to try to go in 2 different directions here. I've been on a big Pet Sounds kick over the last couple of days. So let's say
What did you watch that documentary?
I did, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Not enough Mike Love slander in there for my liking, but it was still good.
Yeah.
Brian Wilson does not like Mike Love at all. He said so himself. And to be fair, not many people like Mike Love.
No,
for
that's
good
what I was
reason.
gonna. Yeah.
But in any event, give me Soup John B by the Beach Boys
Okay.
on Pet Sounds. And then to completely flip it, something that I was listening today, I revisited The Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. So give me the first one on that album. Give me Lost
The greatest
Ones,
album of all time.
according to Apple. Yes.
Yeah.
It's a great album.
I mean, it's up
an
there for
amazing
sure.
album.
Yeah.
It's so goddamn good. So give me Lost Ones there from Miss Lauryn Hill. So yeah. Anything else that we want to bring up, gentlemen, on this extra special big edition of Pawn and Lancet? We're coming up on
No,
an hour
you
now.
guys think they'll be 500 when we record next week?
Yes. Well,
Really? You
do
think
we
they're
have
gonna
an
go
even number of
500?
games?
Nah, this homestand could be.
This
ugly,
is the
folks.
death blow, Liam.
This
That's what you
is
think?
it.
Could be.
Listen, outside forces, no matter who, they could be playing a little league team and they'll still end up at 5. It's
I don't know.
16.
I wouldn't be if they went 3-3. I'd say yeah.
It's
I would say,
games.
to me,
It's
that's
8
a
games
win.
until we next talk, because we're recording Monday evening. They have 3 against Philly, 3 against the Yankees, 2 against Toronto, and then the last game of the Toronto series is when we release on the 19th. So
Okay.
they got 4.
Well, Toronto does not move me. I think they stink.
They've been playing well recently.
No, sorry.
Kevin
No,
Bacon wasn't
sorry.
in Footloose.
No, sorry. Yeah, I think they'll be 500 next time we talk.
They're going to stay committed to the bit. Again, all the sides are pointing to, okay, Philly is one of the best teams in the league. Yankees are one of the best teams in the league. Going to Toronto always gives us fits in recent years, I feel like.
Hate going to Toronto.
Yeah, me too.
It's not fun.
House of Horrors.
It is.
It's there in the Trop. I hate going
Yeah,
to both
oh
those.
my
both
God.
those places.
More
I
so
have
the
nothing-
Trop, I feel, but
Camden
I think
Yankee
Camden
Stadium,
Yards
I feel,
by the end of
I
this
feel
year.
nothing. But by the okay, maybe.
Yeah.
But I hate
in
going
spite
to
of
the Trop.
all that, they still finished
Yeah.
500 over this stretch, 4-4. This is what they do. This is what this team do. You're gonna get a jet-lagged Phillies team coming back from across the pond in jolly old England.
Across
Grove?
the pond.
Emoji of the week is the Union Jack, by the way. But
Okay, great.
But maybe catch them. Coming off the British high. Maybe
Oh,
they're
Liam, you think it's over?
maybe
Huh?
they're hungover after a couple pints and improv, isn't it?
Liam sounds suicidal right now.
No, I don't think it's gonna. I don't think this homestand's gonna go well, fellas.
All right, well, hey, we'll
You
see.
have no faith.
But
Well-
if they go 3-3,
We're 4-4.
I'm reserving my duck boat.
Okay, love it.
And hey,
Just
worst
go
case
3-3.
scenario.
Just go 3-3.
What, game 3 for the Celtics is Wednesday, then game 5 is it Friday or Sunday? What's-
Friday. Me,
So
Jake,
by
and
the
Sophie,
time we
go to the
record
watch
next,
party.
there is a
Go to the
chance.
watch party.
There's a chance that we don't have to talk Red Sox.
You're right.
If things go badly
Fingers
for the Red
crossed.
Sox, but things
Fingers
go up.
crossed.
Hear that? This is me knocking on wood,
Pot on Causeway, coming at you.
right? Second edition of Pot on Causeway officially, proper. But yeah, I believe in the 500 Sox. I believe in the Mid Sox. 4-4, baby.
It would be so funny if they go 81-81 and they are the only 500 team this year.
I hope they do.
That would be amazing.
I really do hope
print
they
the
do it.
shirts.
Yeah.
I'd buy merch. I'd buy merch so fast.
We could just make a white T-shirt with the meme on it.
81-81.
No.
With the scientist or the
No, the time,
oh,
to,
time to go back
Time to go back to 500, babe.
Yeah. Make them all.
People got
Stickers,
all that shit up.
flags, lanyards,
Car decals,
just a bunch of chalk keys.
mugs.
baby bibs.
Order 500 of each.
they finish 82, 83, and 81. I don't know what to do with any of this, guys.
I'm never gonna financially recover from this. So, all right. Do we want to stop it there? Anything else you guys
82
want to
and
add?
80 is what I meant. You can't finish 83
Yeah,
and
I
81.
wasn't gonna say it, but people
okay.
caught your drift.
You never know.
I misspeak on this program all the time, Jake. Don't worry about it.
That's all I got, boys.
That's all I got.
I think that's
Well,
everything.
we went long. We went long tonight.
Hour and a half or so, man.
Lots to discuss.
That voicemail was, to be fair, 5 minutes of it.
And we appreciate it.
And we appreciate
but
it.
Yes,
we
it was-
appreciate it.
No, it was perfect. It was right in line with the conversation we were already having.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
It's like you
keep
knew.
with it. Keep with it. So that's going to do it for this edition of Pod on Lansdowne. We appreciate you taking extra time this week to hang out with us. We really do appreciate it, as we have over after all this time. Really do appreciate all the support from you, the loyal listeners. For Jake, for Liam, I'm Fitz. You're you. We'll talk to you next week. Go Sox, and obey your mother.
Obey your mother.
I've had 2 weeks to prep for this one, Liam. Better make it good.
Obey your mother.
Obey your mother.
Mother.
Proper.
Obey your mother.
The stream won't end. It's not letting me end the stream.
What?
It's not letting me end the stream. I can't hit it.
What do we do?
Obey your mother. Just keep saying it. Just